Welcome to the class. Today we are practicing pronunciation. I have a few different ideas for what we'll do today to practice. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday so far. How are you guys doing today? This topic I think should be pretty interesting. Hopefully, if you are in a space by yourself, you can practice speaking and repeat the different exercises that we're going to do. So, my accent is American, so this will be more American English pronunciation, but I think it should help you no matter what. So yeah, I'll make a note if there are some big differences with the British pronunciation, but in general, it should work for you. To help. I like this comment. Very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. If you guys have been on English meme, the English speaking internet, you've probably seen a lot of these kind of comments. One tip just related to pronunciation is that my objective is not that you have some kind of native accent or something like that, but I notice a lot of people avoid using some words because they don't really know how to pronounce it. Or people can often feel insecure when speaking, in part because of the pronunciation. So the idea is to avoid that. Thank you. If you notice my nails today, they are themed like the holidays here in Chile. Hello from the other side. Greetings from Indonesia. Nice. These cats have little hats on them, so they're kind of like a little party waso cats. If you guys are from Chile, you probably understand these little hats. I am excited for the class today. It should be pretty interactive. Hopefully you can copy a little bit the pronunciation if you feel like you're in a place where you can speak out loud. So probably a lot of you guys will notice that there are some differences with the pronunciation in English and the pronunciation in your native language. One thing that I notice with pronunciation that some people might have a difficult time with, depending on your native language, is some sounds in English require vibration. So basically, I'll make a note of some sounds in English that I'm referring to. And these are especially my experience working with Spanish speakers, but I think it can help for a lot of you guys. Here is what I'm talking about. We have B and V, S and Z, and then like TH sounds. We have the B sound and the V sound. So something to keep in mind is that with the V sound, we're going to use vibration. And not only that, we're going to use the teeth and the bottom lip. So the difference between B and V is in part because the B sound is like boy with the two lips touching, boy. And the V sound is the teeth and the lower lip, voy. So we have B and V. One easy way to know if you're doing this correctly is if you're able to elongate the sound, then that is the V sound. And I hope all of you in your house can make the same sound as I'm doing. If you can do that and let a little bit of air out. Please tell me that you're doing this together with me because I think it is good practice. If you're able to extend this sound, that is the V sound. So we have a little quiz. I'm going to say a word from one of these columns, and I want you to type which word I'm saying. So the first one, best. Which word am I saying here? Best. Okay, we have some answers. Exactly, from column A. The other would be vest, right? So best, when the lips close, exactly, would be the first one. The next one, so type what the word I'm saying here. We have vase. vase, vase, vase. The second one, vase. So this was vase. Exactly. Okay. We'll do another one. And someone asked, what's vest? Vest is a type of clothes. It's like not a jacket. It's like the jacket that does not have full sleeves. This is a vest. I don't think I have an example of a vest, but maybe I can draw one. It's this article of clothing. This is a vest. Eine Weste. Exactly. Okay, we'll do the next one. In France, you say vest also. Yeah, it's like a chaleco if you're a Spanish speaker. Okay. The next one, also, hi Fabio. We have vote, vote. I'll do this, vote. Which word am I saying? Vote. Hi, vote. Exactly, nice. Very good. Vote, yes. And I saw someone did a funny tongue twister, actually. I have the best vest ever. That's a good sentence. Okay, perfect. We'll do the last one. The last one is saber. Saber, saber. Which word am I saying? Saber, not bake. Exactly, saber. And this is a type of sword. It's not a very common word, but for example, if you watch Star Wars, they call the swords that they use a lightsaber. So that can help you to remember. A saber. The second one, exactly. So my main tip with the V, if you can extend the sound, that is the V. If you can't, then it's probably the B because you're touching your lips. Can anyone give me an example of a sentence that uses V and B? Because then I can read it out loud. Can anyone make a tongue twister to practice the V and B sounds? Someone mentioned you have the best vest. That was a good one. Does van and when have the same V sound? No, when you use the word when, the teeth do not touch. So van is the V, the teeth. When. We don't have that vibration. When. Van, when. So that's the difference. In Algeria, they have the government vote today. Best of luck. We have save the boss. Everyone in your house, especially if you're by yourself or if you're not by yourself, you can try to say these phrases. So save the boss. Drive a boat. The ball is in the vase. The best vest is the blue one, like my blue boat. The view of the valley is very beautiful. This is the last boat to give my vote. Best vacation. These are good. Yeah, these are good phrases. So practice if you're in your house, definitely pronunciation, because when it's the moment to speak, you'll feel a lot more confident if you like the way that you sound. So this is a really good thing to practice just to feel better when you're talking. Another sound difference that I notice a lot of people have problems with, which also is related to the vibration, is the S and the Z. So this is an important one. S and Z. And remember, it's based on the sound. So it's not based on the spelling specifically. You can have a C that makes the S sound. I have some other tongue twisters that I'm going to read here. Betty loves the blue velvet vest best. That's a really good sentence. We drove to the beach with the van in order to have a beautiful venture. Okay, this is a good one that Eddie said. The Z is like a B making a sound. So Z, we have S and Z. You're actually using your vocal cords when you are making the Z sound. So for example, this one here, advice and advise. So that's a good example of how the noun advice uses the S sound and the verb to advise someone uses the Z sound. One of these sounds is the S and the Z sound. The S sound, we have Sue, and the Z sound, zoo, right? So when you feel that vibration in between your teeth, that is going to be the Z sound. So we have the snake is the S. Just, you should feel a little vibration in the back of your teeth. Zebra crossing, exactly. Sylvia, yeah, would be the way that I say your name. Sylvia. Okay, so for the first one, tell me which word I'm saying. Sue. Sue, 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 Sue. Exactly. And this is like if someone owes you money and you go to court, you sue them. It's also a woman's name, so it both works like a verb and also like a name, Sue. But I hear a lot of people that speak Spanish might say, I don't know, for example, instead of saying very zoo, they would say very su. So remember the vibration, especially if you're a Spanish speaker. Yeah, this one is a difficult one. And you might not notice when someone's talking fast, like, oh, let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the zoo. Let's go see Sue. Let's go to the zoo. Try saying this. Let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the zoo. Let's go see Sue. So that's a good one to practice. We also have someone said, she sells seashells by the seashore. This is like a very classic tongue twister. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the She sells seashells. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. If you can do it faster than me, comment. I'm curious. Was anyone able to do it faster? Probably. Okay, another one. This is just to show you that it's more important in English, the sounds, rather than the letters used. So, for example, and this happens in a lot of languages, the C in price, it makes an S sound, right? So we have price. Tell me which word am I saying? Prize. 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 Does anyone have an idea? Prize. Very good. This one was prize with the Z. Prize. The other is price. So prize. Prize is with the Z. Prize. What's the price of the prize? I want everyone to say this. What's the price of the prize? What's the price of the prize? Do you know the difference between these words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently? We have close and close. Can anyone tell me what's the difference between close and close when we pronounce it like the S or the Z? What's the difference between close and close? Close and close. And I'll put as a reference we have with the S and with the Z. Close or close. We have someone is close and the shop is closed. Close is a noun. Close is a verb. Well, actually, I don't know if I geschlossen. I notice a lot of people have it kind of backwards. One is when you are near someone and the other is not open. Exactly. Close and close. So the first one, when we say someone is close, I think people are saying the opposite of what it is. Yeah, so the first one with the pronunciation like the S is near. He is close. When it's pronounced like an S is he is close. And when it's pronounced like a Z with that vibration, when it's pronounced with a Z, then that's the action. To close. So if you pronounce both the same way, that's, I think, very common. For this reason, I'm telling you. This is important information. This is the action opposite of open. So when we pronounce close with the S, this is near. You are close. We are close friends. My city is close to here. The action is with the Z sound. So close the door. You are close to the door. Can you close it? You are close to the door. Can you close it? If you're at home, tell someone, you're close to the door. Can you close it? And this is another pronunciation tip I have. If you want to say close it, referring to an action, we usually combine the it with the verb. So not close it, It's, can you close it? Close it. We combine the it into the verb, so that will help you with your pronunciation. So close, like you are close to me, proximity. It's like an adjective. And close, the action to close the door, is with the Z sound. Zip it. Yeah, if you have any verb plus it, combine it like it's one word. Close it, zip it, lock it. This is a very common way that we pronounce things, to combine the it into the previous word. Cheetah chews a chunk of cheap cheddar cheese. Yeah, if you have a problem with the ch sound, that's a good sentence. You're close to me. Can you please close the door? And don't add the ed. Can you please close the door? Can you please close the door? You could say, the store is closed. The store is closed today. Like it's not open. So you're close to the closet to close it. You're close to the closet to close it. That's a good sentence. Close the door when it is open. Very good examples. The store that's close to my house is closed, for example. I have another pronunciation tip in English. Which is that? We have two TH pronunciations. We have the soft TH and the voiced TH. Now, when someone says voiced, they mean that you're using the vocal cords to create a vibration when saying the sound. I'll show you exactly what I mean with some common examples. The voiced TH sound, where we're using the vocal cords. You probably know these words. They breathe by the brother. So remember the same vibration that we used with the V, that we used with the, what was the other sound? With the Z? They breathe by the brother. And it's not necessary to say it with your tongue all the way out, but create that vibration. They breathe with the brother. You're creating it right in here. They breathe by the brother. They breathe by the brother. They breathe by the brother. So this is a voiced TH. Voiced because we're using vibration and the vocal cords. They breathe by the brother. But in English, because we like to make things crazy, we also have the unvoiced TH. Think, thanks, earth, birthday. Think. So notice the difference here. We have think, no vocal cords, no voice, think, and they. Earth, breathe. Thanks, the. Birthday, brother. So this is a good question. You said breath is voiced. There are two words. Breath, the noun, is not voiced. Breath. Take a breath. Breathe, which is the action, is voiced. Similar to close and close, close and close, the one with vibration is the action. Breath, breathe, close, close. The one with vibration is the action. So that's an important difference. That's why it's so good to be able to say these words differently, because it's different if you say take a breath and take a breathe would not be correct because it's the action. Voiced means that you're using the vocal cords. So notice if I say earth, that I'm not using my vocal cords. No vibration. Whenever it's voiced is like la, ja. I'm using my voice actually. So there's a difference in English where some sounds use the TH that also use your voice box, and some it's only the air that's happening there. Can anyone give me an example of a sentence with different TH words, and we can practice this sentence together? She thrusts 3,000 thistles through the thick of her thumb. What a great vocabulary you have. She thrusts, so this is unvoiced, 3,000 thistles through the thick of her thumb. Here they're all unvoiced. The only voiced TH that we have is the in this sentence that we have here. I thoroughly enjoy this week's English class. Yeah, so thoroughly will also be an unvoiced TH. With, without. With, without. Thirsty. Thanks. Yeah, these are teeth. Exactly. So the word caught is not with a TH sound. It's actually pronounced only like the T. Caught. And that's the same with eight. Eight. Caught. We have a G, H, and all of these other weird letters there, but when we're pronouncing them, we can ignore them. It's with or without. Exactly. So this is the TH. I recommend if you're interested in learning more, you can search voiced, unvoiced TH sound, and this will give you more information about this. There is with voice. There, there. And I think a lot of people try to say it like with the D sound, dare. But in English, your tongue is part of it. There, there. So really what I think is you should practice the vibrating sounds. If you feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable for you, practice these sounds a little bit every day and it will get easier. 33,000 people think that Thursday is their 13th birthday. You're really good at this. Like Samina, your examples are really good. All those thoughts are mine now, I would say. Though, thunder. Yeah, thunder will be a soft TH. I thought you go through the mountains and breathe the fresh breeze. Exactly. So this is a really good one. Remember, breathe or take a breath. That's one of the more common words that people get confused with because the verb is different from the noun. How to pronounce 33. 33. 33 would be the pronunciation of this number. Also, this brings us to the next topic, why 30D? So I'm going to explain this very important sound in US English. Also, thank you everyone for your nice comments, and I'm happy that you're here today. If you want to get the most out of the class, I recommend you imitate me and practice in your house. So, I'm going to go to the next tip, which is the flap T. Send a hug for my wife. Thais. Okay. That's for your wife. The pronunciation okay, yeah. In English, we have something called the flap T. This is a very important sound, especially in American English, the flap T. So the flap T is used in words that are super common, like butter, water, city, and party. Now, you already imitate me, so you guys will just sound even more like me today. So this is an important difference with the British accent because they tend to pronounce the T more with the teeth, like butter, ta, ta. But speaking about the American English accent, if you want to practice, we pronounce this sound. I want everyone to do this. Your tongue is going to hit the top of your mouth very quickly and lightly. You don't need to go duh or use a lot of your face. Try to do it fast. Just make a duh, 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 duh with your tongue on the top of the mouth. So this is the sound, duh, 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 duh. And if you're able to do that, yeah, you might feel weird doing that, but I think it's worth it. It'll help you with your pronunciation. Another tip, we're ending this word with an R. So, in English, especially, well, this is true in US and British English, we're not touching the tongue to anything with the R. It's not butter, right? So in some languages, like in Spanish, your tongue touches to make the R, like rrr. So we're not doing butter. It's actually, the tongue is not touching anything. Butter, It's in the middle of your mouth. Butter, So that's important too. you touch with the flap, and then you leave your tongue in the middle of the mouth and make that butter, 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 butter. So that's my main tip related to the flap T and also that R. And the flap T is when it's between two vowel sounds, or when we have a word like party. It happens a lot with these words like 30 or party, when we have an R and then a vowel sound. So party, 30, my 30th birthday party. Okay, I have a really good, we have a really good sentence here. So this word, butter, 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 keep repeating it, butter, butter, butter. And focus not on how you sound as much as try to make these sounds that stop quickly, like butter, 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 butter. And that will help you get used to the feeling of saying the word. We have Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought a better butter, and it was better than bitter butter. This is like bonus points. If anyone is able to say this, you're awesome. You're also awesome if you can't say that, because it's really difficult. So no worries if you can't say it, but practice with this one. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought a better butter, and it was better than bitter butter. And remember, not like butter. If you're speaking in the US accent, butter, der. It's happening behind the teeth, not with the teeth. Okay, so that's the flap T. And this is an awesome sentence for you guys to practice with. I'm going to, because I started to talk about the US R, this is another really important thing. So, R pronunciation. With the R pronunciation, like I mentioned, in some languages, the R you're touching with your tongue, right? Like rainbow or you're touching. But in the especially American R, you're not touching with your tongue. Something that can help you is to know that, for example, children, when they're learning to say the R sound, it's actually difficult for them too. A lot of children that are in the United States, they need a lot of practice before they can say this sound, because it's difficult also for us. So some children, they say it like the W sound instead of the R. So instead of saying rainbow, they'll say wainbow. I don't think you should do that. Don't copy the incorrect pronunciation. But what you can learn from this is that the children make this sound because this is the similar position of the mouth. Wainbow, rainbow. The difference is that you need to use your tongue in the middle of the mouth. Rainbow. So that's an important thing to remember with the R. Another important thing with the R is that any vowel before the R in English, it's really common that it's changed because of that R. And this is true for US or British English. So if we have words like doctor, lawyer, for example, doctor, lawyer, we're going to not really say this vowel at all. We're going to pronounce the R, and before the R, we just say similar to the word her. Like that is her lawyer. That is her doctor. Reminder. Exactly. So any word where you have a vowel and then an R after, that's going to affect the pronunciation. Some of you might speak Spanish where you say doctor, or you might say lawyer. You might pronounce this vowel. However, in US English, we'll say doctor. It's kind of like you take a little bit of an opening between the T and the R, but it's not like a real vowel. Doctor, ter, lawyer. So that's the difference in US English. Paper, exactly, paper. And British English also has a change, but they would say like doctor or lawyer. So they just pronounce there. I can't really do it well, but they also don't really pronounce the vowel completely with their words. So I recommend if you like British pronunciation, you watch a British person, because I'm not British, but that's something that's true in all English accents, that our R's are not probably how they are in your native language. Does anyone have a tongue twister or phrase that they can make with R sounds? You can include R, flap T, TH, and what were the other ones that we did? B and V. So you can do any combination that you want. Also, some of you are asking me questions. I am a native English speaker from the United States. And yes, this is a pronunciation class, a live class that I have every Saturday. Okay, words that finish CTLY. Perfect. I can do that after. Okay, we have Roberta ran rings around the Roman ruins. Okay, so remember, think of these little like US children that are like, Roberta. Put your mouth in this position and do not touch your tongue. Roberta ran rings around the Roman ruins. Roberta ran rings around the Roman ruins. This is a good example. I hope, is everyone doing it at home? Are people having any progress? Do you feel like you're able to pronounce some of these sounds a little bit more? Let me know. My aunt is a lawyer around 33 years. My aunt is a lawyer around 33 years. My aunt is a lawyer around 33 years. You can also say my aunt is a lawyer, and that's correct also. People say aunt or aunt. Roberta ran rings around the Roman ruins. Roberta. Yeah, like a name. This is the name of a person. I want to become a lawyer. I want to become a lawyer. Nice. These are good examples. If you have trouble with a specific sound, like the R, I suggest that you listen to audios of people saying it and also watch videos of people saying it and see how their mouths are. You can find our pronunciation videos on YouTube. Also, look at yourself in the mirror when you talk, and you'll have more awareness of where your mouth is. That's one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation, is to watch yourself talk in the mirror and to just listen a lot and practice, because you need to train your mouth, right? When this is a sound that you did not learn as a child. And so now you need to basically train yourself from zero to be able to say it. But it's definitely possible because, I don't know, for example, this year I was never able to whistle before, but I taught myself this year because I practiced a little bit every day. And I started with nothing, and it's something you can definitely train your mouth to make different sounds. It's 100% possible. You just need to practice a little bit every day. Someone said how to practice or how to pronounce lieutenant. Lieutenant. This is an important thing to note, that also with pronunciation of the final NT in English, it's lieutenant. And I don't really say lieutenant, but I stop abruptly so that people can kind of know that there's a T there. Lieutenant. Lieutenant. This is another common tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So if you're in your house and you want to practice the P, in English, our P's release air. This is different if you're a French speaker. You say Paris. We say Paris. So Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The paper should move because you're releasing air. Peter Piper picked, right? So this is something important about the English accent. How do you pronounce literature? This is another example. where I'm going to use the flap T. Literature, literature. Also, any word where you have the T-U-R-E, we say like chur. It's similar to the CH. Literature, literature. It's like if you say the word church, literature. Literature. That's something that I use a lot in like US English pronunciation is words that rhyme. That helps a lot. Literature. Okay, we have how to pronounce length. Length. This is a word where honestly I would completely ignore the spelling and just say length. Length, length. This one is another tongue twister for you guys. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I don't know if you guys were able to do it fast. Let me know. Trailer, trailer. This one is a good question that we have here. Terminal, terminal. So remember, I'm not saying terminal, terminal, terminal. It's similar to her terminal. It's similar to the word turtle, like the animal. And this is one also that, like I talked about, literature, we have nature, literature, nature. We have that chur here, like church. Literature, nature, church. Literature, nature, church. Here we have see or she. So the difference is see, I'm only using my teeth. See. And then she. See, she. It's like if you're like, shh, stop talking. Shh, she. Okay, this is a really difficult one because some words in English come from French, but then we pronounce them in our way, so it's really weird. Because this word is genre, 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 genre. And this is used basically to say like a type of book or movie, a genre of movie, or a genre of book, a genre. How to pronounce purchase, purchase, purchase. So we have the R that we talked about, the ch, and that S. Not the Z, purchase. Hyperbole. Another weird word, like it doesn't follow any of the traditional pronunciation rules. Hyperbole. Hyperbole. Okay, wait, I'm gonna try this. Surely Sylvia swims, shrieked Sammy, surprised. Someone should show Sylvia some strokes so she shall not sink. Surely Sylvia swims, shrieked Sammy, surprised. Someone should show Sylvia some strokes so she shall not sink. This is a good one for those of you who have issues with the S and the SH. This one, preface, preface. I want to preface this by saying that I'm very tired today. I want to preface this. Pronunciation of exaggerated, exaggerated. Instead of like exaggerated, we say it more like egg, like the food, exaggerated, exaggerated. And it's also similar to the Z, exaggerated, exaggerated. What's. You could say like what's. And it usually combines with the next word, like what's up. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's up? What's. It sounds like if you make it plural, if you make the word what, plural, is how it sounds. What's. Similar to cuts, huts, what's. All of these words rhyme. Lieutenant, Hyundai. Yeah, this one, obviously it's different in every country, the way that people say brands. So I'm not saying that there's a correct one because obviously the English one is not like the original language for a lot of brands. But in the US, we say Hyundai for this brand. Hyundai. WhatsApp. WhatsApp. So if you want to know how to say what's, it's like WhatsApp, but you remove app. And this one, receipt. Receipt. Similar to a seat, like, can I take a seat? Receipt. Receipt. Would you like the receipt? Okay, this in American English pronunciation. Party car, literally. Literally, where's the party car? Literally, where's the party car? Literally, where's the party car? The car party is literally a party car. And you also might hear some variations like, I don't know, Southern, like, literally, where's the party car? Or I'm trying to think of another accent I can do, like, literally, where's the party car? If you guys watch a lot of TV, maybe you hear other variations of this. Okay, wait. The sixth sheep's stick. That was really hard. The sixth sheep's stick. This is probably the most difficult tongue twister that I've tried today. So if you guys want a challenge, try this one out. Okay, someone said, what does it mean, I'd? I'd, it depends. It could be I would or I had. It could basically be would or had, but it's more common to use I would. I had, it's not so common, this tense, so I imagine that's what it was, but it would be one of those two options. The pronunciation for these, I should make just a complete different video about that, but when you have a apostrophe with the D, this word I'd it rhymes with hide or side. I'd like a coffee. Side. I'd like a coffee. Let me see. You guys have a lot of... I think I need to do another pronunciation class. What does everyone think? Should I do another one where we just talk about pronunciation of different words? The pronunciation of this word, obviously. So this is one that you probably will see is a little difficult because we don't say obviously. We really don't pronounce the B. We say obviously. Obviously. And I'll do this one also. Seat belt, seat belt. Yeah, it's really quick, the T, seat belt. The difference is if you don't have the T, it would be like seat belt, seat belt, seat belt. Like the vowel gets cut short because of the T. I think that's the difference. You don't really hear the T, but the vowel is shorter versus if you say seat belt, it's longer. Seat belt, seat belt. I feel that's the only difference because it's said really quick. I always said it wrong, obviously, with a B, but I think obviously. I've heard people when they like really exaggerate, but it's usually in an ironic way, like obviously. I hear people say it like that, but I think that, yeah, in general, people say obviously would be the more common pronunciation. But you don't sound bad. If you guys pronounce any of these things a little bit differently, I'm sure that people still understand you. I'm going to do this as the last one. How do you pronounce patent? Patent, patent. So it's kind of like patent. This is a really difficult one, I imagine, for a lot of people, because it's not paton, it's patent. Like I'm using that N as the second syllable, basically. Patent, patent. Yeah, say it like me. I'm your English parent today, everyone. So, I think this is about it for our pronunciation class. Nice work with your English pronunciation. You're going to get it soon, even if it's difficult. It's just more practice. So, I'll see you all in the next one, and have a good rest of your weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.